I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it after? Where did all the why do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
So, hello again and welcome to another episode of Quick Question with Soren and Daniel, the podcast where two best friends and comedy writers ask each other questions and give each other answers. I am one half of that podcast, senior writer for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, author of How to Fight Presidents, and celebrating... Nope, nothing to celebrate. No third thing. Daniel O'Brien, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Soren Bowie. Soren, say hello.
Hey everybody, I'm Soren Bowie. I'm a writer for American Dad. I have not written any books except a part of a cracked one. Really, not much of it. And celebrator of my daughter's birthday. So maybe that's what you're thinking of.
When was that? Yeah.
Last week. She turned 4.
Congratulations to that. I was going to do a little celebration of we just hit the episode 300 of Last Week Tonight a few days ago as of this recording. And as it was about to come out of my mouth, I realized that there's got to be triple that in American Dad episodes. How many? Do you know what you're at right now?
Number of episodes. We are closing in on 400.
Oh, okay. In my head, that would be so much more.
No, because we do 22 a season, and then we've been on for like 19 seasons. So I don't know math, but I know that we are. Okay. It's always a big deal when we do over 100 and then 100 more, and then like every centennial mark is like big deal.
Yeah.
Thanks to Shopify for supporting Quick Question. Shopify is a platform designed for anyone to sell anywhere, giving entrepreneurs like myself the resources once reserved for big business. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/QQ, all lowercase.
I think we got little fun branded coffee mugs. I can show you.
Yeah.
For episode 250, I think it was. This is the Void from our Void episodes. And none of the writers, as far as I know, keep track of this kind of information. But some of them were in the office on Saturday for rehearsal and taping, and there was like some swag for that we just sort of found out in a very offhanded, like in Slack, someone saying like, "Oh, by the way, congrats on 300. They gave us High Joe flasks." And we're like, "Oh, okay, good. This is the right way that this information should have reached us."
I don't think that's atypical for shows. Like for whatever reason, communication is really poor on shows, and so like
I don't even expect like John to keep tabs of how many episodes there are, because that's just not a thing that warrants any space in the brain while you're making a show. I don't think we were ever truly aware when we were making After Hours how many episodes we had done, or how many. I mean, we did it for 10 years, so we can easily figure out that math, but no one was ever like looking around being like, "Hey, it's episode 50, we should do something special."
Yeah, that's true. Anniversaries in general have never really meant much to me. My poor wife too. Yeah, like birthdays, I'm into it. Like birthdays, I get it. I get that you get a day where you celebrate you, but like shared days of celebration of like, hey, we all did this thing on this day. It means as little to me as like, hey, Jackie Robinson hit this ball. Like this is a really important ball. Like I'm like, oh, okay, that's just a baseball, man.
Yeah. Anniversaries, I don't think this was around as much when we were kids, but pop culture anniversaries seem like they get brought up more and more often in ways that I don't totally understand what we're doing, but it's just watching the Today Show was like, it's been 20 years since the Friends finale. And it's like, all right, and what?
Yeah, I mean, I know what
are we doing with
this
this information? Or like 25 years since That Thing You Do came out. Here's an interview with some of the guys who made it. Like, yeah.
It feels like the foothold happened when people were like, oh, we're almost to the day that showed up in that movie. Like when a movie takes place in the future and we get there and you're like, oh, well, this is kind of fun. Or where the DeLorean set its clock to, like where it was going to go.
Right.
That kind of stuff is at least interesting because then you're like, okay, well, what do we have? Like, what were they right about? Let's take a look. But
you can do that kind of compare and contrast what they thought the future was like versus what we actually have. But I think just the blanket celebration of like 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 milestones for just like a thing having existed is a little perplexing to me. That was like, it was 30 years ago today that this person said this thing on that TV show. It's like, and tomorrow will be 30 years from another thing. I don't know what we're doing. You'll never run out of this. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just the pop culture websites who are just like, okay, guess what? This is going to be, it's Josie and the Pussycats week here at the AV Club because it's the 17th anniversary of Josie and the Pussycats or whatever.
But if you're not doing, I agree with you. If you're not doing anything with that information, it's pointless. This is pointless as having like, hey, it's donut day today. And you're like, okay, man, there's like, you know what? It's also chicken day. I found out that there's lots of days all at the same time. But there's another podcast called Not Past It. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's really good. Not Past It. I think but it's past is spelled PAST. And the host takes a date from the past and says like on this day this like Barbie was invented, and then you do this huge deep dive into what Barbie was and how it was invented, or like the Menendez brother trial started, and then like you find out a lot of stuff.
This podcast is all across the map.
It's like they're also never going to run out any ones that they can pick. But the hard aspect of it is like trying to identify what that means for today. And like these other people are not beholden to that. They're just like, Friends existed, remember?
Right.
But like she's trying to do this thing where she's like, okay, so it existed and then it led on this long journey to where we are today. And now you know why we have what we have today.
Yeah. It's Entertainment Weekly marking the anniversary that Niles first kissed Daphne is the same energy as the kid in middle school the day before New Year's Eve, where they're like, hey, tomorrow is going to be next year. And everyone else just like, go find a corner to hide in. We're not interested in this.
I'll see you next
year. What you think is clever math. Yeah.
That's my children right now.
Is it?
My son is at that age where he was so pumped on New Year's to be like at night saying goodnight. And in fact, like talking it up that he was going to do it. Like the rest of that whole day, he was like, tonight when I'm going to bed. And he's telling me this with like his two giant front teeth and no other teeth. And he's like, tonight when I go to bed, I'm gonna Dad, hey Dad. Yeah, I'm still listening. I'm gonna say see you next month. No, wait, no. I'm like, I know what we're doing. Just get to it. I've got to the point. I don't know if this is cruel or if this is good advice for him, but like he'll be telling me a story and I'll stop him in the middle and be like, hey, think about what you want to say to me and how you can most clearly get it across, and then say it. And I'm happy to give you all of my attention. But until then, this is unfair. It's unfair of you to ask me to just sit here and listen to you say my name over and over again while you think.
Ronan, that's some free writing advice from a guy who knows.
From a guy who's
soak that in, buddy.
A guy who had his own column and was allowed to write way too much, and then learned how to be more streamlined because no one was reading.
Can I tell you something else that came up in this conversation that we're having currently? So you're talking about that podcast. Say the name one more time. Not Past It?
Not Past It.
Yeah. And then you spelled it out for me and the listener. That is always a crapshoot for me. If I like, he walked past the store and continued walking to the tree. That is something that I never knew and never know. And for a while, I would, if I was writing it in a way that someone would see it later, I would Google past versus past, which one do I mean, enough times that like Google would autocorrect as soon as I put the letter P in, because that's how frequently I made this mistake. But now I'm out the other side of it where I'm going to take my shot, send it off, close the laptop. I don't care. It could be wrong. It could be right. It's not, it's frankly
Doesn't matter
none of my
to
business.
you
You know
anymore.
what I mean.
Yeah, that's I feel that same way about Lay and Lie, and this be like there's some genuine trauma on our show with Lay and Lie because our showrunner is so like he knows it backwards and forwards and hates it when other people get it wrong, and I'm sympathetic to that. Further farther, I'm with it. Like I get really upset when people don't get further farther right because I'm like it's so easy.
Yeah.
Like farther is distance, further is conceptual. Like and when Lay or Lie comes up, like he'll stop the whole room if it's wrong in a script. Like if we're doing a rewrite, and he will punish you. Like he'll make
that's
it
valuable.
He'll make it really presentational. He'll make the writer's assistant change it, and but he'll quiet everyone down first to make sure that everyone sees it happen. And then and then he just sits there in silence for a while he just like stares at the screen, and then he goes, "Yeah, no, that's right." That's right. You're like, oh.
The energy that I want to have. So I had a coworker years ago. This was back when we were still in the physical room, and we're writing jokes together in a shared document. And he had written something where the joke involved a Venn diagram, so, like saying out loud Venn diagram. And he had written it Venn diagram, VIN. And I, in like our shared messaging thing, was like, hey, just heads up, you wrote Venn diagram. And then he replied to me, yes. And like this was all the public information. And I was still new that I just sat there. I was just like, okay, you don't want to step on any toes, so don't say another word. And then 2 other writers privately messaged me, and they were like, you've stumbled on our favorite thing in the world. He thinks it's Vin, and he's never investigated it. And we just let him do it. And it's every bit of this is funny to me. It's funny that the writers let him do this and they think it's funny. It's also funny that I thought I was having a conversation where I was trying to correct someone's spelling. He thought we were having a conversation where I said, hey, you said Venn diagram, and he responded, yes.
Yeah, man.
He thought that's what the conversation should have been because I'm new, and was just like, hey, buddy, saw you wrote a fun word. He's like, yes, I did.
Thank you
Welcome
for
to the team.
Yeah. I was like, is this going to be a Vin Diesel joke? Like, is Dan
Nope.
just missed it? No. Just
He had just decided it was Vin, and that's the confidence that I want when because I don't have the time to look up words anymore. They're just like, yep, I spelled it past the way I spelled it.
It's
And
so
if you want to look me in the eye and tell me you don't know what I mean, then you can get the fuck out of this writer's room.
It's so less endearing than when somebody gets something wrong because they've only ever seen it written and they pronounce it wrong. Like going the opposite direction. Like people who only have ever heard a word trying to write it is like it's like a moral failing. But the other direction, I'm like charmed by it. I'm like, oh, buddy, you've read so many books, but you've never talked to a human.
You're so thoughtful and lonely.
Okay, Dan, should we do our show today?
Yeah, let's do it.
I have something that I want to do for you.
Oh.
This is I mean, I'm sure this gets played all over the place. Mm-hmm. Well, have you ever played Would You Rather?
Yeah, we pronounced it like not assholes, but yeah, we played Would You Rather.
Oh man! You know what?
Do you hear how you're? This is one of your words that I don't know if you know how you sound.
It's just occurring to me now.
Like toilet and twilight, how those words are very close when you say them.
Twilight.
Yeah. You've worked on that for about 15 years.
Thank you. I just want acknowledgement that I worked on it. Okay, but it rolled off my tongue just now. It sounded really good. So there are certain words that in the wrong context, or I guess a different context, I pronounce different. I'm realizing, like, this came up with route and route the other day, which was a real mind bender for me. That that I'm clearly a moving target. Where like if it's like we're driving, we're on a route.
Yeah.
But like I have a router at my house, Like it's going to
Sure.
route the internet to different places. Like I pronounce it differently. And Rahther.
This feels like Rahther is how we all pronounce it.
That's how I
your
pronounce
version-
it. Except
No.
when I say, would you rather?
Yeah. Okay. Good. So you do understand that it's different. It sounds like
It's
when
awful.
they
It's
first
English.
started.
It's like I'm doing like a Billy Joe from Green Day English accent.
Yeah, it's almost English. It's kind of like when they first started doing talkies, and people were like, "Oh, how do we think fancy people are supposed to sound? You are rather beautiful, my darling."
It's my
And it's like that
Mid-Atlantic
strange,
accent.
fake Mid-Atlantic. Yeah. But yeah,
okay.
let's play the game.
Do you want to play Would You Rather?
Nothing would thrill me more.
Okay, so I've created. I don't know that anyone's done it this way. I've created a number of Would You Rathers for you that I think are. These are like custom made for you to think about.
For me,
Yes.
America's sweetest baby.
America's sweetheart. And maybe you'll even understand why each one of these is for you. But
Okay.
I made these specifically so that you could answer them. I don't think that they mean as much to anyone else. I'm going to start, okay? Here's number one.
You have to start. I
Here's
can't
number
do
one.
anything.
Let me explain how the game works. You're going to pick it up if you don't know. Okay, Daniel. Would you rather sweat an odorless but usable gasoline, or once a day you can turn anything into a cow? Anything you like. Animal, alive, anything inanimate,
Does it,
into a living cow.
Return to non-cow form at midnight?
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
But the sweating never turns off. Or is it
sweating-
so okay, question about the sweating.
Yeah.
Do the normal rules of sweating apply? Meaning I sweat when I'm running, I sweat when I'm at the gym, I sweat when I'm nervous or when I want to sweat on purpose. Those two categories. Like can't control it because I'm sweating because I'm nervous, or I've put myself in a position to sweat. It's not a situation where it's me going through puberty and I sweat for no reason uncontrollably all the time.
You sweat exactly as much as you sweat like right now, but you're sweating this. It's odorless, but it's a usable form of gasoline that like you could use just a few drops. You could probably get a car like a mile on.
Okay, so it's pretty potent.
It's useful.
That's a pretty easy, unless you can resort to some beanstalk tactics and really sell me on this cow. I think I got to go with the endless supply of free gasoline. Is this one of those schemes where there is like a trick behind it? Because you'll reveal the gasoline gives you a rash, like you're not holding back any other information.
What would you think about the things that you might turn into a cow for a day? Like, let's say you could. It doesn't have to be like nearby you. You can be anywhere. So you could like be watching the news and you can watch and you see that during a trial, Trump is like shitting on the judge as he's wont to do in the middle of the trial. And you'd be like,
Sure.
I think he should spend a day as a cow. And you could just turn him into a cow for a day. Or anything in your life. Anybody who's annoying to you. You can turn them into a cow for a day.
Right. I think so. My reasons for the gasoline sweat thing is very similar to my general thoughts about questions on what superpower you would rather have, which we may or may not have covered in After Hours. And I think whether or not I gave it to someone as their argument in the show, my default argument is a power that is very useful to me and incredibly easy to conceal because we're living in the real world. So if suddenly someone catches me flying, that's a problem. Or if they catch me invisible, I guess invisible would be a fine one. But any of the like super strength, any of the things that someone could see and clock as magical is bad news to me, because if we're playing in the real world, the person who flies is now either a threat or a science experiment to be dissected, or both. And I'm not trying to get any of that attention or smoke. So even if there's no way to trace me turning former President Trump into a cow in the middle of one of his many trials on hush money or campaign fraud, pick your poison. Even if someone couldn't trace that to me, it changes the rules for the whole world in a way that I would personally find very disruptive. I want to have powers and like still continue about my day generally and live my life the way I want to. If I'm suddenly turning a stalled car into a cow just so I can just that day get to my destination faster and weave through traffic, things are different. They might close the movie theaters until we figure out why cows are suddenly appearing. And they might, we might all lose our jobs because, like, listen, all hands on deck. We're clearly being attacked by someone who has magic technology that turns things into cows. So to that effort, you're all either drafted or you're all rounded up until someone has any information that can give us an answer on this. And at that point, my whole life and world is disrupted, and I have to worry about, like, what if I turn former President Trump into a cow in the middle of this trial, and everyone has a big laugh about it, and it's such a weird thing, and then 2 days later, President Biden comes on and is like, we found it. This is my Biden impression. We found it. We found out the cause of the cow thing. It was Vladimir Putin, and that's why we're going to bomb Russia. Then I'd be like, oh, no.
Then you turn Vladimir Putin into a cow, right?
Yeah. That's certainly...
It can't be him.
That's the only lever I can pull, really.
Well, here, the issue I'm going to bring up to you is that you have a lot of responsibility with the gasoline thing. Because now you've got a sustainable source of gasoline.
That is for me and for my fiance and no one else. I'm not bringing in my family on this because I'm not about to turn into a treadmill of endless power for people I care about.
Right. Are you just going to be milked all day long? You sit on a treadmill getting milked all day long.
Yeah.
And also, is this a genetic thing? So when you have children, are they going to have it as well? And how do you prep them for something like that? And how do you know that they're not going to do the altruistic thing? Because that'll ruin their life.
I don't think I would raise them to do the altruistic thing. I think I am pretty... I know what I want out of them.
All right. Then that one's settled. I'm going to give you a different one.
Do you answer in these, or is this some weird
I'll answer. I'm taking the cow thing.
Explain to me.
I don't think I could live with knowing that I am, I'm racked with guilt about global warming.
Yeah.
At pretty much every conceivable turn. And knowing that I had this other solution that would, help claw back some of it, and I wasn't using it at all, I think would be really, it would be really tough for me to sleep.
Do you not recognize the hypocrisy? Is this, beautifully set up by you, the two sides of this coin? Because cows produce so much methane gas that is bad for our environment. You're putting more cows out there. Even if it's just for a day, you're increasing very quickly the number of cows anytime you feel like it.
By one for a day. It's a minuscule amount.
Increase by one.
Okay. So it's a very minuscule amount. I will say that it is designed that way because the opposite side is you're producing a very minimal amount of this gasoline as well. It's like whether you would use something completely selfishly, which is as this cow thing, where no one's going to trace it back to you, and it is too chaotic, it's disruptive, but it's very, very fun. Or this other thing that's you could do the right thing with this, or you could be very selfish with it, but it's if you are selfish with it, I don't know that I could continue to live that way. I think that eventually I'd have to be every single time that I find out some catastrophic event because of our dependence, I would be fuck. Every time I see a picture of a polar bear floating on an ice cap, I'd be like,
don't bring polar bears into this.
It's my shorthand. It's that's the shortcut to, I feel bad about global warming. But I would have a very hard time with not sharing that with the world and then doing what I could to give it to other people.
Sure.
Whereas the cow thing is only disruptive. It's only like, that's something I have to keep secret or I'm dead. And
Yeah.
and just like I love fantasizing about all the different ways I could even use it. When you said that like there's a stalled car or there's like something in the way while I'm trying to get to work and you turn into a cow to get it over, I'm like, yeah. Like anytime I've had to like lift something, like bring something into my house that's way too heavy, or like it doesn't fit right or whatever, I'm like, oh fuck, I should turn that into a cow and I'll bring it in. Like I'll wait till like the very end of the day and then I'll bring it in. It'll turn right back into what I want it to be. There's all kinds of things that like little selfish reasons I would want to be able to turn anything in the world for one day into a cow.
I think the greatest use of cow for me, I think, would be a day of like incredibly high stress, because we're in the middle of wedding planning, so there's no shortage of those. But there have been plenty of other days where I was very stressed, and it was a work thing, or it was a COVID thing, or riots on the Capitol that I was going to be late for, and all those times where I'm just like incredibly stressed, and when it reaches a point in your brain where it's like, I can't wait. I wish it was sleep time now so I could be asleep and not have to think about any of those things. That's a day that I would self-cow as self-care and just like go somewhere and be like, there was so much going on. I'm just going to be and I would hear my wonderful fiance being like, don't cow.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm going to a field.
And I'm just like, I'm done. I'm just, you talk to the florist. I'm cow today. And that's it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, it is a really nice way to escape, to just be a cow for a day. I mean, you also, if you're ever in a situation where you are stuck in the wilderness, your hatchet situation, I mean, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine if you can turn trees into cows.
If I'm being chased by someone, not that I have a life where I get chased a lot, that's really handy. Just be like, I really pissed off that cop. Moo. And then I'm just moo. And
yeah, you have somebody that's dangerous. I mean, even if there's somebody like, say, pointing a gun at you, you don't have to turn them into a cow. You turn that gun into a cow.
Yeah.
Imagine the fun chaos that ensues. Like, there's just so much fun to be had. But
or if someone's got a gun pointed at me with my powers, I'm like, buddy, I'm so nervous with guns. Hang out a second. I got your ticket home. Dripping out of my pores.
That's something we didn't also talk about, is that you have an odorless form of gasoline, but in all other ways it's the same as gasoline, which means that you are incredibly flammable.
This is what I'm fucking talking about when I say, are you hiding any secrets from me?
Well, I just decided any little that just now.
Mephistophelian, Faustian aspects of this bargain?
I didn't, but unless as the devil makes those deals afterwards, he's going, oh, it would be fun as if I did this little detail. That's the only way that's the same. Let me give you a different one. You ready?
Wait, no. Speaking of the devil, hey, quick question. Do you think this would be a fun like 2009 Funny or Die video if it's the devil went down to Georgia, that whole music video for that whole song, and then we added a third verse or like a final verse that was the devil just being like, I'm just kidding, I'm the devil. You're coming to hell with me. I don't actually follow any of these rules.
I think that would be great.
You think it'd be fun?
It'd be like, you win this fiddle. But also I'm taking you to hell.
Right. All right. I'll reach out to Chris at Funny or Die and see.
Is there really even somebody at Funny or Die named Chris now, or did you just?
There was. Yeah. Now I have no idea. I think Funny or Die is just like most websites, a commercial for hair products now.
Perfect. Let's be honest, when you have the idea for a business, it usually starts as some new product or an idea that you think, oh, the world would like this. You're not thinking about all of the business logistics that go along with that. And why should you? That's not how your brain works. You're an idea man or lady. You're an idea boy and girl. No, you want to get to the brass tacks of what you want to build, what you want to contribute to the world before you shed this mortal coil. You don't want to have to think about, how am I going to give health insurance to my employees? Think about your favorite comedy duos. Got Key and Peele, right? Maybe Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Abbott and Costello. I know we've got some old heads listening to this podcast. Maybe it's Soren and Daniel. I don't know. I don't want to judge. Maybe that's it. You know that all these people came down to starting their own business first, right? That they created something. They created something that was marketable, and then they built a business around it. Cha-ching! That's the sound of a Shopify new sale. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every single stage of your business. From the launch your own online shop stage to the first real life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders at Interabang stage? Shopify is there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or you're offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Plus, Shopify's extensive help resources are there to support you and your success every step of the way. You are not in this alone. It's not like you just buy this thing and then you have to figure it out. They are going to hold your hand through it because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/QQ, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/QQ now and grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/QQ. Cha-ching! Okay, Daniel. Okay.
What's the next one?
Would you rather speak Spanish fluently or be able to talk to your dog for 24 hours?
Only 24 hours?
Yeah. But he's going to understand everything. And you could understand everything that he's got to say.
I assume Spanish fluently 100%. I mean, that is something that I have been actively losing money to at this point. My pursuit of learning Spanish has, I just did Duolingo before this, so 642 days straight of Duolingo, and before that about a year and a half straight of Pimsleur. That is so much time and money that I've spent trying to learn, not to even mention the Zoom class that I took, and I'm not fluent yet, and so I could get that money back. And like, I'm pursuing Spanish not as one of my pointless hobbies. I want to know it and learn it because it would help me communicate in this world that we have better, and would make me feel better, and you can't put a price on smugness. So yeah, easily learn Spanish fluently. And because as much as there are so many things that I would like to say to my dog to explain my actions to, and like let him know that everything I do is for his safety, and also explain to him how time works, which we've said before is like the one lesson that I would love to incept him with is an understanding of time. You do run the risk that he's as dumb as I suspect. That's a problem. There's also the problem that because he's so small and dumb and confused, if we start communicating, he could just say things that make me too sad to like have him in the world anymore. There's a popular series of YouTube videos where it's like, we strapped a camera to my dog's head when I left for work, and then the footage is just the dog like going to the window to look for their owner, walking to the door to look for their owner, going back to the window, looking for their owner everywhere, and just like sitting sadly waiting for their person to come home. And if I learned how to communicate with Jackson and he was immediately like, hey, just so you know, every time you go to sleep I think you die. I mourn you every time I can't see you, and then you come back again, and even that joy gives me a minor heart attack. I am always either so happy it hurts or so sad it hurts or so lonely without you that I really don't know how to be. And that's why sometimes I have accidents in the house. Like if it was a very sad thing, then I would just think this current relationship of man and dog was perhaps a mistake, and I should set him free or do some other drastic thing I'm not willing to consider. But yeah, the possibility that he is either a bad hang or like a very depressing, like
Debbie Downer.
It would be ethically unreasonable to continue this man-dog relationship. I don't want that.
He's a real wet blanket, that
Yeah.
Jackson. Well, I think that you would be able to rectify some of that in the talking with him. Like, you would hear these things from him, like saying that he thinks you die. And you could be like, common misconception among dogs. Let me tell you what's actually happening. And he would be like, oh, okay. And would know that for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I think the Spanish thing is what I would take rather than if I could talk to my cat. I don't think I don't think I give a shit what my cat has to say.
I don't think any cat has ever had a good thought. Does that controversial?
I think I would like to. There's certainly I have questions for my cat. Like I'm like, where are you shitting? Because I don't know. You're doing it somewhere out in the world, and I don't know where. But I could also be like, hey, you know those ritualistic sacrifices you've been doing under our house, where you drag birds and lizards and other animals down there. Don't do that anymore. We don't like it, and we're feeding you, so you don't have to do that anymore. And it would be nice. I might save some lives, you know. But I still think, for very selfish reasons again, I think Spanish is like, the world would just be better if I could just speak some fucking Spanish really, really well. Like if I could just
100%.
If I'm not worried every time I travel to another country, if it doesn't take me a whole week to even think in the language, I would feel so much better. I also watch those videos. I told you, I watch videos of celebrities speaking in their native tongue. And
it's very
every single time I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah. I thought that person was born like Scranton. Like, there's no way she's from Brazil. Of course she's from Brazil. Yeah. She speaks Portuguese so well. Anyway, I think Spanish is the one I would take too.
I think so for sure. I would love to know your answer if you had a dog for 12 years as I have, because the cat thing is a real spoiler. I think if someone could allow dogs to talk, we'd have a lot of fun conversations. Yeah. And I think it would be one of those cases where you would stumble on like very simplistic sage Zen-like wisdom, where you ask a dog how its day was, and it's like, I have food, I have somewhere to sleep, I have toys, I have warmth.
Yeah.
This is
I want
the
anything
world
else?
As far as I know. What else could a being want? And we'd be like, so true. Let's change our minds about things. And then you can give cats the ability to talk, and they would say, I think umbrellas should be the other way around. And we're like, we fucking thought about that, you stupid cat. That doesn't work. You're an idiot. Every thought you had, someone had it first and they did it better. You're so far behind the rest of us.
It would be amazing to have a meaningful conversation though with your pet. Especially, I know how important that was for you, because it was torture for you when you couldn't convey time to Jackson. Like it has been your whole life, where he doesn't understand time, and it's real like it's awful for an owner to know that your dog doesn't.
Right. To let him know that I'm gonna come back, and it's not gonna be the end of the world, and we're gonna have fun. And also like the times where I've had to make him take medicine, and because for reasons that we don't need to get in. Like, I've thought about all the tricks that you're going to write in with. I've thought about them all. None of them work for him. I've had to open his mouth, throw medicine down his throat, and then close his mouth until I know he swallows it. And I'm looking in the eyes while I'm doing this. And even that, I want to just be able to say, like, this is uncomfortable. It's not going to be uncomfortable forever. You just need to get through this. And then things are going to, like, I promise you, if you understand patience, you'll get through this, and then you're going to feel better, and also you get your treat after this, and won't that be special?
Right. There's some built-in other magic to this question, which is that you could explain something to them and they would immediately understand it. Because I have children that I can explain these things to, and I still can't make them understand these things.
Right.
Like, they're still
so it is part of the magic that he will retain all these lessons.
Yeah, that's fine. That.
Okay.
Yeah, but like that, I have to tell, like with medicine, I have a 4-year-old daughter who, like, I can tell that she's rationalizing things in her head already. She has an understanding of the world, though small, it exists. And medicine should be within that purview. But, like, trying to get her to take medicine in the middle of the night, even though medicine now tastes like bubblegum or grape or whatever you want it to, she's like, no. And if I try to, like, I'm like, well, maybe I'll just force it. Like, maybe I'll put it in her mouth and see if she'll just swallow it. That's like immediately she is gonna spit that out in my face and in her own hair and get it wherever she possibly can. Like, I cannot explain to them, you are going to feel, or like Band-Aids. Band-Aids are such a big one because they will wear a Band-Aid because they'll get hurt, or like they want them. Like if they, even a scratch or something, they're like, Band-Aid fixes that. Give me a Band-Aid. I'm like, if I'm not willing to have the fight of like, no, it doesn't actually do anything for you, then I'll be like, all right, take a Band-Aid. They put it on. I know that that's going to be over the next 2 days. This Band-Aid's going to be a fight because then they're not going to want to take it off because they're worried that it's going to hurt to take it off. Despite the fact that I've taken off several Band-Aids and been like, see, I do it fast. It does not hurt. Also, they're worried about taking a Band-Aid in the tub, like getting it wet. They don't know. They're worried it's going to change form or something, or like something bad's going to happen. So like they're also deeply worried about getting into a bathtub with Band-Aids on. And I have to explain over and over, like, we've done this. Like, we've had this fight over and over. We saw how it happened. Sometimes we get in the Band-Aid and the Band-Aid comes off and it doesn't hurt. Sometimes we get in the tub and the Band-Aid stays on and nothing changes. It's fine. Everything's fine. Also, the undercurrent of all of this is me wanting to say to my kid, you have no idea what a real cut is. Someday you're going to find out, and you're going to have like a really dangerous situation. You're going to need like stitches, and you're going to realize, oh shit, all those were just little scrapes. Like I have been really kind to you about this and been like shown a lot of attention to it, a lot of support to you for what you're dealing with. But save your fucking tears because it's going to get way worse.
Just my dad talking to me when I'm 14 years old and I'm stressed about being in the school play and a local theater play. And I'm like, Dad, I'm just so stressed. And he's just like, he has to pretend that my stress is like, oh, God, I can't imagine what that's like.
That it's
2
legitimate.
plays.
Yeah.
Wakes up at 3 a.m. to get on a train to work at Amtrak in Penn Station all day. And his 14-year-old shit that he picked up from rehearsal. It's like, Dad, I'm so stressed right now. I don't even want to talk about homework. You don't know what it's like, Dad.
Yeah, it's that every single day. It's them like they got the wrong colored party favor at a birthday party. And I'm like, you went to a birthday party. You had cake today. You got to play at this cool indoor gym the whole time. Like, I can't. Every problem is a big problem because they catastrophize everything because they don't know any other way. Like, they don't know how to regulate yet. And they've got no context, obviously. And I want to tell them, you're going to have context someday. I don't even want to tell you what it is because it's too scary to think about. But like, you're going to have reasons to be upset. Please, let's just be cool about this. Okay.
Right.
Let me move on.
You remind me of another reason why I would pick Spanish, though, because you said Band-Aids, and that reminded me that every once in a while Jackson gets these little, like, harmless, non-cancerous growths that just, like, look gross, and they actually fall... I don't know what they are. They look like giant, like, warts or scabs that get bigger, and then over time they fall off and they will like bleed a little bit and then they'll be fine. When that happens, we have to keep him from scratching at and biting the bloody areas. So we have like dog bandages that we put on him, and it's always very confusing to him. I bring this up because if I had 24 hours to talk to him right now, like before this podcast started, I would have many great conversations with him, and I think I would probably forget to bring up the Band-Aid thing. And I know there would be other things that I would forget, that like I talk to him for 24 hours and it's great, and we bond and he understands time and he eats his food and it's awesome. And then a year will go by and I'll need to take him to the vet, and we're like, oh fuck, I should have talked to him about the vet when I had that chance. Now he thinks... Because I made him think that we were bros, and now he doesn't understand this other thing that I'm doing, or he doesn't understand Band-Aids, or whatever the thing is. And I had my one shot, and I blew it. And I'm not fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, and you don't get that either. Yeah, I have to keep taking this Duolingo. There's also the chance that like he's going to ask some questions that are way too tough. Like you're going to explain time to him, and he's going to be like, I got it. So he'll always come back. Yeah. And then you and I will always be here together. And you have to be like,
right.
Do I tell him that he's going to die way before me? Is that something that he needs to know? Or like,
or
if I give him even the concept of death by accident, like now he's going to just like think about that all the time.
There's also a chance that he, like anyone else in the world, won't know I'm won't think that I'm an asshole until I start talking, and he finds out what I'm like.
Oh,
like now
shit.
that I'm just this this warm piece of sound that feeds him and carries his poop around in a bag, he's all about my shit. But there's a chance that I'll give him the power to speak, and he'll be like, I'm so glad we can talk. I've been meaning to ask you, that little brown dog that we knew in Westwood, whatever happened to that dog? And I'd be like, no, forget about that dog. Shut up about that dog. I want to tell you about time. And he'd be like, no, we'll get to it, but this dog was my best friend, and I would love to check him. Jack, I need you to focus. And then once he learns that that I'm a very persnickety person who has things a certain way, then he wants them done, Jackson just be like, oh, fuck, this is maybe I'm the bad hang in this situation.
You find out because dogs are so loving no matter what. And if you had one day with them and all of a sudden your dog is more standoffish and a little aloof, I don't actually love you unconditionally anymore.
Right. I come home and I'm like, hey, do you want to go to the park? And he's staring at a clock. He's like, no, I'm doing the thing you taught me about. I'm looking at time. Isn't this what you wanted? Aren't you happy that I'm counting seconds, Dr. Time?
So I did this question with children in mind, and I'm realizing that that's exactly what will happen with kids, is that once you get them to understand everything you want them to understand, and they get also a taste of you, they're like, I think I'd rather be with somebody else for a little bit.
Right, you want to teach them scale and the impermanence of pain, and they're gonna be like, can anyone sail the whole ocean? And you're like, shut up, don't ask that question. I'm like, well, this isn't fun for me anymore.
Right. Then eventually they're gonna be like, no, Dad sucks.
Yeah.
They're gonna be right about it. They're gonna know me so well that the little things that I don't like about myself, they're gonna be like, yeah, those are the things I don't like about you too. And I'll be like,
It's also funny that you're gonna come to them with this is how Band-Aids work, and this is how injuries work, and this is how patients work. And they're like, wow, you know a whole lot. What's the moon like? I don't know. All right, what's at the bottom of the ocean? I don't know. All of the questions that you have, as a child, have had in your head, I don't actually have any of those answers. You used to think I knew everything. Now you know I don't.
I try to be so, because I am very much a know-it-all, and so even if I don't know the answer to something, I can approximate. And generally, the problem throughout my life is that I've been right when I approximate, and so it's just taught me to keep doing that. And so when they ask me questions, I try to curb that as much as I can. If I don't know the actual answer, I'm like, I think I know, but I really shouldn't just say that. And so I try generally with my children to say, you know what? I don't actually know. Maybe we should look it up. And the looks I've gotten sometimes from them of this motherfucker doesn't know. When they're like, Dad, we were talking about they want to talk about sex or something like that. Is a girl born with a uterus? And I'll be like, yes. You know what? I don't totally know, man. and you see their look on their faces where they're like, this motherfucker, he does not know.
Also, so deeply worried now that I would find out my dog is the dog equivalent of someone who wants to go to a club, and he hears about nightclubs and is like, let's go. And I'm like, no. Why? It's just they're loud. It's just a bunch of people and they're drinking and dancing, and people are doing drugs. And Jackson's just like,
yeah,
this is what I thought you did when you left. What do you actually do? Go to the post office. I go to the grocery store. I go to the gym.
Oh, so you kind of suck then. No, Jax, it's these are important things, man. Try to win your dog over with your daily errands. Okay. We're running out of time, but I want to give you one more. Okay.
Okay.
Would you rather? Would you rather
that was close.
have everyone in the world like you exactly as much as you like them, or be able to eat spoiled food without consequence?
Spoiled food without consequence.
Yeah, I thought
comments,
so.
please.
I thought so. Oh, it's a dream, right, Daniel?
It's absolutely the dream, and I think hey, good for the environment. Food waste is a very important issue to me. I'm not just like saying that. That's like sincerely a thing I think about is food waste. So if I could make sure that I'm eating the slimy greens that I get in my bulk box of greens, I could eat them and there's no problem. That's great. We're not wasting food. We're not wasting money, and I have a meal. And I'm really happy talking about the spoiled food thing as much as you want, because I do not trust what's going to come out if I wade into the conversation minefield. That is what I want people to think about me, how much I want and need people to like me, and what I think about other people.
Yeah.
And vis-a-vis if I deserve to be thought of that same way. Do you understand?
Totally.
Do you understand what this is?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it totally.
Because once you start going and you say, do you want everyone in the world to like you? Like the yes is on deck. The yes is right about to come out. And then you cap it off with as much as you like them. And like, well, hold on. No one deserves that.
I mean, there are certainly benefits to it. You know that, like, you know your significant other is never going to... You know exactly how they feel. Like, you never have to do, like, a heat check. And... You can, and people that you don't like, you never have to spend time with. Like, you're never in a circumstance where, like, they're, like, on you. And, but, yeah, you're right. Like, as soon as you start pulling at threads with that one, like, it gets really dark really fast. And then you start to, I think, so, like, this is born from, where do you spend most of your time, like, worrying about things? Are you constantly worried that, like, because I look at my fridge all the time and feel so badly every single day. Every single day. And I thought this could also benefit you if I added this caveat, which was once the food is gone off, you could eat anything. So you could eat dairy. You could eat anything that you currently can't eat. You could also eat.
That's a fun perk that is not necessary, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I was going to try and sweeten the deal, but didn't have to. It turned out.
No, you wouldn't have to if the first one was everyone likes you as much as you like them, and the second one was, or a cheese sandwich one time. Like, a cheese sandwich sounds good. It's even a sandwich really that I could have under ordinary circumstances.
The first one's so dangerous, because, I mean, you're in a relationship, too. You now know that anyone in the world, and not that you ever will be, but, like, that you're just attracted to, just biological imperative, you know that they feel the same way about you. Like, what a terrible thing to know.
Oh, my mind was not even going there. My mind was, and this is like the ugliness in me, that there are so many people that I deal with on a regular basis that I do not like and I don't respect, but it's so important to me that they like me. And that's you understand how that's tricky, because
of course. Yeah.
If I get them to like me, which is what I want, then I'd have to like them. Right. And even in this scenario where it's magic and I genuinely feel it, I, in the present, know better. I know that I shouldn't like that person. So if we go the other route and the people that I don't like also don't like me, that would drive me crazy, because I'm a cool guy, ignoring all the things I just said.
Yeah, like think about how you would live your everyday life, knowing that there's somebody out there you don't like and that doesn't like you, and how you would still try to make them like you, even though you know the magic exists and you know that can't happen.
I already feel like I do that. I already feel like there are people I have worked with in the past where it's like, I really think this person is such a prick and they don't like me, and I really don't like them, but I want them to like me anyway. Like, that's already a thing that I live with all the time. that I wouldn't need to. What am I doing? And then I can, and if I don't do that, I can have spoiled milk. Man, load me up.
Give me the trash food, please. I mean, I don't even know. I think I'd have a completely different lifestyle with both. But like, if I could eat spoiled food, I don't know that I'd care about money anymore.
Yeah.
I think I would just I'd live trash can to trash can every day.
Absolutely. I would find out what pizza places are throwing out bread at the end of the day and be like, this is perfect for me. I'll give you, $5 for all your bread.
I would just walk past a trash that's got a half-eaten piece of cake in it. And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
perfect. Don't even dust it off. Don't leave those ants on it. I'll eat it.
Got it. Eat the ants.
And then, traveling. Spanish was obviously a good one for traveling, like how that opens up traveling for you. But eating spoiled food, if you could do that, traveling changes completely. Traveling, like where you choose to go, what countries you choose to be in. Because so much of people's fear around traveling is that built-in fear that they're going to get sick. Like they're going to eat something there that they're not going to, that their body isn't used to or that they don't like, and you look confused.
Do you think the reason that people get sick when they travel abroad is because other countries are serving spoiled food?
Yeah, sometimes you're eating spoiled food. Yeah, like a third world country. Yeah, you go somewhere and you will eat something that your body can't handle and somebody else's can. Or in most cases, that spoiledness is coming from a mold or something that you could probably get from the water. I don't know. What do you get from the water? Giardia? Is that a mold?
Yeah.
So I think maybe you'd probably be able to drink.
Bacteria?
You'd probably be able to drink.
Okay.
Whatever you want too.
I didn't know that the thing that made people sick elsewhere was
specifically
spoiled food. I thought
it's not necessarily spoiled
maybe
food.
It was ingredients you're not used to, or you
at this point,
drink water from a place where the water is unclean.
Yeah, I guess maybe it is truly the water, and I don't know if those two things would translate to one another. But yeah, because I didn't.
A lot of this is born out of your trauma of going to Costa Rica and getting violently ill while you're there.
Yes,
I have never,
yes.
in all of my travels, have never been to a place where I feel like local cuisine has gotten me very sick, and I ate such weird shit in Thailand.
Okay. I just sort of assumed that when I was creating this question that it was the food. But you're absolutely right. It very much could just be that there's the water's unclean because there's sewer runoff in the water and it's fecal matter, and fecal matter is not spoiled. Not the same thing that would be happening to spoil food is not the same thing you're getting from fecal matter. I don't think. Is E. coli something that grows on spoiled food? I don't know enough now.
No, I don't know shit about fuck. But the spoiled food, being able to eat spoiled food is enough for me. Just for I have a salad for lunch almost every single day, and there's a lot of food that gets wasted because you get a big thing of mixed greens and they just get bad so quickly, and I hate that, and I don't want to overeat to meet the deadline, but I also don't like throwing out food. And also the amount of times that I was I look in my fridge to see what I have, and I make a meal based on that, and then I start pouring my dairy-free cheese onto my meal and find out at the last second that the cheese has gone bad. That is devastating when you think you were having a thing and then you can't have that thing anymore.
Yeah.
That's very, very disruptive. So I would love it if I could just have the confidence that I can eat anything until it's gone. Everything in my home I will eat until it's gone, and then I will go shopping again. What a coup. What a huge benefit.
It'd be great.
And I don't have to investigate my personality at all.
Yeah, how judgmental I am. I never have to deal with any of that. And I'm with you. I'm taking that one. The other one is a curse.
Yeah.
That's all I have for you, Daniel.
This was a fun one. Good idea.
I'm glad that you liked the little world that I architected. What's it called? Built?
I wonder if we had done a whole podcast of Would You Rathers. It seems like we would be bigger.
It's such an easy concept. It's much easier than some friends. You just have to listen to it. Like, they just talk to each other. Even when Me Rex made our theme song, they were like, "Oh fuck! Well, what is this show?"
The show, to answer your question, is Quick Question, but you knew that already. We are recorded, edited, and produced by the irreplaceable Gabe Rahther, our president of podcast operations. Our theme song is by the incredible Me Rex. Their digital album is available at merex.bandcamp.com. You can find the show on Twitter, QQ_Soren and Dan. You can email us at QQ with SorenandDaniel@gmail.com. We are also on YouTube. Want to watch this episode instead of listening to it? You can find it on YouTube. And we also have a Patreon where we do bonus episodes just for our paid subscribers. And that can be found at Patreon/QuickQuestion. Sign up, and we are actually doing them. It's not a fake thing anymore.
Well, hold on. It was not. It started out, we were really serious about it. We were doing a lot of bonus episodes, and then we kind of fell off for a little while. Yes.
Yeah.
But now we're like back on it, and there's bonus video episodes.
There are not. Are there?
Yeah.
Cool. That's great. I think that the reason the bonus episodes fell off is that I will not do this show unless someone tells me it's time to do the show.
Yeah.
Which is a very frustrating quirk of mine, and Soren is the same way. And I think the other people who work on the show, after a few years of pinging us once a month to say you need to do a bonus episode, these people who have their own jobs thought surely any day now we will have to stop reminding them and they will just do it on their own. It is, after all, our show. But no, that would never happen.
No.
But anyway, now we're doing the Patreon exclusive
listen to those
video pods.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all go? Why do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time, yeah.